two more VR videos to show you today. One was really good, and one was just a little bit disappointing. Alright everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm the man they call Pixel Paul. Thanks for pressing play as ever, and welcome to this VR gaming video. Pixel plays PSVR. So yep, not done one for a little bit because of other games that I've been playing, and for the first time this year, since getting the PSVR, it did start to gather a little bit of dust on top of it. However, I have picked up one or two new VR games recently, and that's kind of prompted me to give them a go. Now, when I say give them a go, with one of them, I wasn't expecting that go to be pretty much finishing the game. But anyway, we'll get onto that shortly. So two games that I've got to show you in this video. I'll show you a little bit of footage from both games and also give you an idea of what I thought of them. Right, we'll start off with the one that I'm thinking was a little bit disappointing. And that game, I picked it up recently. It's Batman Arkham VR. Okay, so, well, again, with these VR videos, because I'm really relatively new to VR gaming in general, I've never really taken much notice of what games came out for VR systems, PSVR in particular. So I don't really have a huge amount of knowledge of what games were really good. Some of them are pretty obvious, I suppose. So this is a game that, because it was Batman, I wanted to play it, and I am a big fan of the Arkham series, and I do love the Batman games and Batman in general. So I saw this, got it for £15, which is a pretty reasonable price for the against the going rate at the moment. I'm not quite sure what I expected. I knew there wasn't going to be a lot of combat in this game. I knew it was more of a sort of detective kind of, the sort of detective side of the Arkham series was going to be more sort of what the theme of this game was going to be. And I was right in that way. But yeah, let's have a quick look at Batman Arkham VR in action.
Welcome. Suit up sequence initiated. Biometric signature required. Batsuit version 7.13. Ready for deployment. Please engage gauntlet apertures. Cowl, ready for deployment. Please begin cowl calibration routine. Calibrating. Calibration complete. Grapnel gun, ready for deployment. Newest upgrades include high tensile wire to aid the navigation of environments and retrieval of distant objects. Calibrating targeting. Please fire grapnel gun at target. Grapnel gun targeting calibrated. Forensic scanner, ready for deployment. Software update allows for crime scene visualization and multi-layer analysis. Calibrating diagnostics. Please scan target. Diagnostics calibrated. Batarangs, ready for deployment. Aerodynamically designed for rapid flight and high impact. Calibrating targeting. Please use a batarang to hit the target. Batarangs equipped to utility belt. Hit 3 targets to continue calibration. Batarang targeting calibrated. Batsuit calibration complete.
Sir, you're here. Please let me know when I can brief you on the situation.
Have you got something to tell the nice man, Jason?
My name is Jason Todd.
Who do you hate?
Batman.
Excellent. Of course you do. Did you get that, Bats? Kid's not yours anymore. He's mine. Mine. To do with as I wish. Hey, I never asked. What's the big secret? Who is the big bad bat? His name. Tell me.
Of course, sir. It's...
Never could stand a tattletale. That's why I like to work alone. No one to spoil the punchline. You should try it sometime. After all, you've seen what happens when you drag your friends into this crazy little game of ours.
Right, Batman Arkham VR then. So that was just a very small snippet of the game. Basically right at the start, with you suiting up as Batman and then going down into the Batcave. I didn't want to show you any more footage because if I show you any more footage, I will be showing you a reasonable percentage of what is the full game. So I stood up, to play this game only the other night. And I'm not going to lie, it took me about 40 minutes to finish the game. Now, that's the sort of core game. Once you've done that, you do unlock... I dread to say it because it brings fear to the hearts of every sort of Batman Arkham game player. Riddler trophies. There are Riddler trophies in this game as well, but that's on the second playthrough. But the sort of core story mode of the game, I finished it in about 40 minutes. I was really surprised at just how short this game is. Now, it is a very good game. What is there is really good. If you are a fan of the Arkham games, you are more than catered for in a way. You know, the look, the sound, the voice acting, everything about it ties into that Arkham series. That being said, the actual story itself, I would say, I'm trying not to give too many spoilers away with it, but I would say this is more like possibly a night where Bruce Wayne is dreaming. Let's put it that way. That's how it sort of ended for me. Anyway, I was thinking, is this all just a bit of a dream? So it doesn't necessarily sort of fit in. It won't fill any gaps in the Arkham storyline or anything like that. But it is part of the same sort of timeline, if you like, or universe. But yeah, if you do like the Arkham series, then you will get a kick out of it. If you are just playing this because it's a game and it's Batman and you just want to play, you probably end up just thinking, wow, that was really good. But wow, that is short. And it is incredibly short. So I split into 3 acts. And once I'd finished that third act, and the titles started to roll, I was thinking, right, okay, so is that the end of Act 1 and I'm going to move on to the next act and it's going to be done like an episodic sort of game, a bit like, say, Vader Immortal was? But no, that was the end of the game. Unlock the Riddler trophies, go back through the game if you want and see if you can find the Riddler trophies. You know, maybe extend the game by another 40, 45 minutes. But that is pretty much it. Now, I am sort of aware that you would say possibly that VR games are almost split into what, sort of 3 sort of categories. So you have dedicated VR games, so games made for VR, and that is it. You know, they are just pure VR games. Great. You have games that are sort of made for home consoles and ported to VR. So I'm thinking of something like Skyrim perhaps, or even like Tekken 7 and Wipeout. And then you have games where, to me, they feel more like longer or sort of technical demo type games. And I would say that this probably fits into that sort of technical demo. I'm also thinking of games like possibly Vader Immortal and VR Worlds. That was a sort of bit of a hodgepodge of different types of game. So it is more like a technical demo, a very impressive technical demo, but just incredibly, incredibly short. Now, at the moment, this game goes for £25 in CEX. I genuinely don't think you could justify paying £25 for this game. As good as it is, £25 for what game is in here is incredibly steep. So you would have to get it a lot cheaper. I'm even sort of thinking at £15, did I get enough bang for my buck? Well, possibly not. I'm not sure how much it trades in for at the moment. Whether I could get a little bit more on top of that £15 and trade it in, I don't know. The thing is, though, I did like what I played. I just wish there had been more. So, yeah, it's a bit of a funny one. Batman Arkham VR. What is there is impressive. And I haven't really spoken about what you do in the game, but essentially, as like I was saying before, it's sort of that detective side of things. So there are about, I'd say about 8, something like that, 8 kind of scenes basically where you are put into those scenes. You don't necessarily move around. It uses that teleportation system to sort of move to different viewpoints of different crime scenes. And it's a lot of detective work. So, you know, you're piecing together a puzzle almost, and there is a part where you have to sort of find a key, open a safe, that sort of thing. It's all sort of very detective, almost like a point and click adventure in a way, but you are completely immersed into the game. So I did enjoy it. I did honestly enjoy the game. I just wish there'd been more, and I would hope that the new Batman VR game for, I think it's coming out, I don't know if it's coming out for MetaQuest, I'm assuming it will be in all the others, but I know it's coming out for PlayStation VR 2. I would assume that is going to be a more fleshed out, bigger Batman game. I would hope so anyway, because if it is, that could be fantastic. If they can incorporate some sort of combat into it as well, that could be an amazing Batman experience. As for this one, it's just like a teaser trailer for it, really. Right, moving on then. So the next game, and this is a game, again, that I had no sort of awareness of before getting the VR system. And it was only actually when I did one of these videos a few months ago, I think I'd asked you guys for some recommendations of VR games for me to look out for and to play. And this game is one that featured quite heavily in the comments of that. And that game is Moss. So again, I had no idea about this game particularly, not really heard about it or anything. Yeah, so many of you sort of recommended this game, so I did find it, got it for a nice price at the car boot sale, I think it was. And yeah, been wanting to play this. I didn't get that long ago. So this is one of the games I was kind of like, I've got all these other VR games up here waiting to play, but I was recommended this one, so I wanted to play it. So yeah, let's have a quick look at Moss in action.
That hero, albeit an unlikely one, did arrive at a time she'd be needed most. Quill was out adventuring beyond the edge of the clearing. Dusk was creeping in, but she wondered what she might find if she went just a little farther. She was not exactly sure what she roused, but she felt no danger from the being silently peering down at her. Quill had to hurry. The village gates would soon close, and night would follow. Night, her uncle often warned, was when danger was most present. But Quill preferred the stories of the magical creatures that woke to protect the forest. Thanks to her new friend, Quill had saved priceless grains from the hourglass. She raced to the door of the cottage she shared with her uncle, hoping once he saw her discovery, he'd lose himself in tales of its legend.
Okay, Moss then. I straight away, as soon as I started to play this game, fell in love with this game. What a fantastically beautiful game this is. Just absolutely stunning, absolutely amazing. It's sort of slightly hard to explain in a way, but you are basically in the sort of levels of what is essentially like a platform. I nearly said 2D platformer, but it's not a 2D platform. It's like a 3D platformer in a way. Yeah, you control the little mouse, Moss, through the not sort of area. Well, yeah, areas. I don't want to say screens, but obviously you don't move. So as you sort of move the character through sort of toward the end of a screen, you then move to the next screen. So you don't actually move yourself within this world, but you are moving the character along like you would do in any sort of 3D platformer type game. It's very sort of puzzle orientated. So as you saw in that footage there, you are acting as a sort of spirit guide and helping to pull blocks and move blocks, so Moss can sort of progress through each of those little stages. There's a little bit of combat in there as well. And yeah, I suppose, again, like I've said with some of the other VR videos, if it wasn't a VR game, it would be a pretty sort of bare bones kind of experience, possibly. But I think, and I haven't finished the game, that's just a quick disclaimer, I haven't finished it yet. I think as you go through it though, I just can see this game getting more and more sort of gorgeous and beautiful looking, and the sort of puzzles getting a little bit more intricate and a little bit more difficult. Now, one thing with Moss that I have learned recently is that there was a sequel. Sadly, it's only digital only, though. It wasn't released as a physical release, which is kind of a shame, really. But I think I've played enough of this one so far to think, do you know what? I'll have a look on PlayStation Store and see how much Moss 2, I think it's Moss Book 2, I think it's called. I'll have to find out how much it is at the moment on there, because, yeah, if it's any better than this one, wow, that must be an amazing game. So, yeah, Moss, brilliant game. I think at the moment this is currently, now this is a game that's fluctuated in price recently. So I think when I first looked into trying to get it, it was about £8. It went up to about £12. I think I got it for, well, no, I've seen it for £10 as well. I got it for about £5 on the car boot sale. But yeah, at the current sort of price at the moment, which I think is £10, yeah, absolute bargain. If you have a PSVR, I would put this as another sort of essential purchase for the PSVR. Speaking of which, before we close off this video, I was going to sort of just go through and update what I currently have as my top 5 PSVR games. So the top 5 that I've got at the moment, has Moss made it into it? So at number 5, I've got Farpoint, because I really did enjoy that. It's the main sort of game that I've currently played the PS Aim with, and I thought it was really good. As a first-person shooter, you know, it was kind of what I expected first-person shooters on the VR to be like. So yeah, I really enjoyed Farpoint. Next up, I've gone for Wipeout Omega Collection. I think Wipeout is a great game. This collection's brilliant, but in VR it just lifts it to a completely different level. Amazing game in VR. At number 3, I'm going to put Moss in there as well. Already, I think this is well up there with some of the best games on PSVR. So Moss is in there. For number 2, I've gone for Blood and Truth, because again, really enjoyed this game. Spoken about this game on my, I think it was the last PSVR video I did. So yeah, if you've not seen that one, check it out. But Blood and Truth. And then at number 1, possibly the most obvious choice, but I've gone for Astrobot, just because it's such an amazing game. And you know, exactly what sort of VR kind of like can do and should do, and just a fantastic game. And everything Astrobot touches at the moment just seems to turn to gold. So that's my number 1 VR game, and those are my current top 5 PSVR games. Plenty more to play though. I've still got about half of those games up there, and I think I've got about 20 of them. Nearly sort of half of them are still sat there waiting to be played, or played more sort of extensively. So we'll see if any more of those fit into that top 5 at some point. Anyway, thank you as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed learning and watching those 2 games. One good but short, and one fantastic. Moss is an absolutely amazing game. Loved it. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, if you could hit that subscription button, that would be great. And I will see you next time.